Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Toastmasters International Speechcraft program. This is session 1 of 4. I'm going to begin by giving some general details, and then I will step us through our agenda. I am the Speechcraft coordinator. My name is Teresa Banks. I also go by the nickname of Terry, and I have reached the level in Toastmasters International known as the DTM, the Distinguished Toastmaster. My Toastmasters Club affiliations include the following. I am a part of District 30, specifically the Hispano Americano Toastmasters Club. I'm also a part of District 103, a member of the New Faith Toastmasters Club, and that club is the sponsoring club for our Speechcrafters program. Some of my Toastmasters highlights are toward the bottom of the screen. I've been a member of Toastmasters International since April 1st, 1999. For District 103, I am a preferred trainer. And for District 103, during the 2023 to 2024 Toastmasters year, I was named the Area Director of the Year. Our Speechcraft theme is harnessing your powerful voice. We have 5 amazing individuals that have registered for Speechcraft. They are known as Speechcrafters, and they include Dr. Keisha Kareem, Elizabeth L. Stevenson, DTM, Gail Perry, Gerald Crawford, and Letitia Coleman. Over our 4 Speechcraft program sessions, we will hear from 8 different speakers. They are known as our presenters, and they include Calvin Gibbs, who has completed a DTM 3 times. We also have Cassandra Lee, DTM, past district director and certified virtual presenter. We have with us Cecilia Palmer, DTM, and we also have Gerald Crawford. In addition, we have Julian Wiley, DTM, Martha Brock Leftridge, who has completed the DTM level 3 times. We also have Samuel Brooks within Toastmasters Pathways program. Samuel has completed Innovative Planning Level 5 and Team Collaboration Level 5. We also have Sandra Lane, DTM, Past District Director. Here is our agenda. I've already stepped through our program and key participants. I am going to provide to our 2 presenters their timing constraints. I will then introduce our first presenter, and then we will hear her deliver a speech. We will then have a brief question and answer session. I will introduce our next presenter. We will hear her speech, and then we will have another brief question and answer session. And then our speech crafters will partake in a roundtable, and I will then close our session out. You can learn more about Toastmasters International by visiting the Toastmasters.org website. I'm now going to close my presentation deck, and I will let our 2 wonderful presenters know what their timing constraints are. They will be speaking between 8 and 10 minutes, and I will change my background to a different color as they move forth with their speech. At the 8-minute mark, my background will change to green. At the 9-minute mark, it will change to yellow. And at the 10-minute mark, it will change to red, at which time our 2 presenters will have 30 seconds to wrap up their speech. I now have the pleasure of introducing our very first presenter, Cassandra Lee, DTM, past district director and certified virtual presenter. Her title is 2 primary sources for choosing your topic. Have you ever asked the question, what am I going to talk about? That's a question that our Speechcraft presenter, Cassandra Lee, has asked herself and others plenty of times. She understands the importance of choosing a topic. She is an active member of Toastmasters International who has presented over 3,000 speeches, workshops, and training programs inside and outside of Toastmasters. She is also an author of 9 publications, 2 of which have earned honors as an Amazon bestseller, and one which received the Professional Women Network's International Literary Award, all because of the topics she chose. Today, she will give you some ideas on how to choose the topic for your next speech or presentation. Please use your reaction icons to welcome distinguished Toastmaster and past district director, the diva of dialogue, Cassandra Lee.
Thank you, Madam Speechcraft Coordinator, fellow presenters, and most importantly, to the speech crafters. Hey, welcome to this phenomenal opportunity. This particular topic that I am here to present to you today is one in which I have witnessed people stressing over. What am I to talk about? What do I need to say in my speech? I'm not quite sure what I can build a speech on. Those have been some questions, some concerns, and some worries. I say that tonight, that doesn't need to be your worry. Tonight, I am here to share with you insight that can assist you with understanding more about 2 primary sources for choosing a speech topic. I like to say that the primary purpose of this workshop is going to make certain you walk away with knowing in your hip pocket, in your backpack, on your bingo card, you will know exactly the 2 sources that you always have exposure to that can help you to choose a topic at any point in time. Then I'm providing you with some bonus information, some bonus tips that allow you to be able to know how to choose your topics, how to collect your speech topics, and even how to make certain you have very specific ways in which you can narrow your topic down. Now, inside of the chat box, I've placed the handout. The handout is going to assist with making sure you have the bonus points. Give me a thumbs up visually or with the reaction icon if you were able to access that handout and download it, and that way you have it. Wonderful. Ooh, I'm looking at all those thumbs up. I like that big bundle of thumbs that came up. That's wonderful. When you download the handout, you'll know you have the right document because it'll have this cover page before you. Now, as I'm going through, you will have the opportunity to engage with me. I'll give you the chance to engage sometimes by microphone, primarily though by the chat box, even with the reaction icons from time to time. When we're done with the program, done with my speech in particular, I do ask if you have the opportunity, give me some feedback on how it goes. And also because I'm working on a goal beyond the Toastmaster environment or within the Toastmaster environment, but it does include an element outside of Toastmasters, meaning if you hear of any opportunities for non Toastmaster speaking engagements, let me know about it so I can apply. I'm working toward my accredited speaker application, and any non paid Toastmaster environment opportunities will assist with that. So that's something inside of the handout. It'll be a reminder there for you as well. Yet, that handout, I'm glad that you have it because it's the source for tonight and beyond. Speaking of the handout, I mentioned that it's inside of the chat box. I want to give you an opportunity to use the chat box, though, for another reason. I have a question for you. Actually, 2 questions to be exact. Yet here's the very first one that I want you to answer. Inside of the chat box, give me an idea of the type of audiences for which you're creating presentations. What type of audience are you finding that you're delivering presentations for? Give me that inside of the chat box. Our coordinator mentioned the number of presentations that I've delivered, which means I've delivered presentations for schools and for corporations, for manufacturers, for attorneys, for administrative professionals. And I like that, Letitia, direct reports at work as well as colleagues. So that's good to know. Who are you delivering your presentations for? Letitia, your comment is letting me know that primarily it's an adult audience. It's a professional audience. It's an audience of your peers and your reports. So thank you for sharing that. Depends upon who you're delivering your presentations for. You're going to have a different type of need for the type of topics in which you're presenting. Therefore, thank you for considering the question that I asked you regarding who you're delivering your presentation for. Let me now ask you the second question. What's the percentage of time that you get to choose the topic that you're presenting? Meaning, depends upon who you're delivering your topics for. And I see some people are delivering their topics for fellow Toastmasters, others are delivering their topics for podcast audiences. And even there's some individuals that are delivering their topics for leadership teams. That's good to know. Again, a variety of audiences, professional audiences and adult audiences. Yet I'm curious to know what's the percentage of time that you have with choosing the topics for your presentation. I like seeing 90% come in. I also like seeing 50%. That's a range there. And I like that response, even that it varies. The key reason I'm asking the percentage of time is because it gives me an indication as to how much flexibility you have over determining the topics yourself, or how many of you must deliver a topic that's being directed towards you, that's being provided to you, that you're delivering content on? For me, I deliver topics in both arenas. Sometimes I have 100% authority over the topic I choose. Other times, I have 10% authority over the topic I choose because someone has provided that topic to me and I must present on that topic. It's okay either way. Yet we like which one? The one where we have more authority, right? Yeah, because that gives us more creativity. So that's why I want you to know the two primary ways in which you're selecting topics. Now, on your handout, you'll see you have spaces where you can fill in, meaning what I'm going to share with you here on the screen, it fills in those spaces. The very first space that I want you to make certain that you have as a note are those two primary sources. You're going to notice personal experiences where you rely on yourself, and the second one, reference materials, where you rely on others. The first one is you. You're relying on yourself. It's easy to have that firsthand experience. The second one will be those reference materials. And we'll talk a little bit more about each of those. And I like to say that with personal experiences, as well as with those reference materials, there are five key areas for each one. Let's begin to dissect a little bit more the personal experiences. And I think when we talk about the personal experiences, you have the experience with these as well. Here are the five that fills in the space for you regarding personal experiences. Now, personal experiences, I say, are your primary source. It's primary source number one. That firsthand experience, you recognize what makes you who you are, and the five categories that you see listed all give you something to talk about: your interest, your career, your family, education, and inspiration. Those are all firsthand experiences that you can talk about. Now, give me inside of the chat box, and I say give me an indication based on the number. There are five of these that are listed. How many of these have you actually created a presentation around? Give me two of these as the number two. Give me five if you've used all five. I like that. Four, three, good, good. This is awesome. You've already tapped into personal experiences, which you're using. And look at these numbers. This is awesome. You have a great connection to the primary source number one. Let's take a look at primary source number two. And I said this is the one where you're relying on others. And what I mean by relying on others is that you're using reference materials. In using the reference materials, you're using reference materials like websites, books, newspapers, magazines, and podcasts. These are some of the reference materials, or I should say, the most common reference materials that people are using in order to get ideas for topics for presentations. Give me a yes or a no in the chat box if you've used any of these at all to create a presentation from. Yes, look at that. I see some yeses with the explanation mark coming next to it. So this is fantastic. You have access to all of these areas. And as I like to say, you've used the two primary ones. Yet notice this question. What other sources could be used? That's up to you. In the chat box, give me an idea that may have come to mind for you that where you could use a different source to create a topic. Did anything else come to mind? I know sometimes when people see podcasts on the list, they start thinking of other things that come to mind, like movies. Sometimes people say movies, interviews, conversations. There you go. You got it. You are able to come up with the topics at your choosing. You're able to have those primary sources. You know what those primary sources are. And I like to say your handout is providing you with two additional ways to fine tune your topic. So, with what I've shared with you today, know that personal experiences and reference materials are those two. And inside of your handout with Appendix A and Appendix B, you have some tips and ways that can assist with further enhancing your personal experiences as well as those reference materials. It has been such a pleasure to reinforce for you what you already knew. Thank you for letting me know you're already using those. And, Madam Coordinator, the floor is now back to you.
Wow. If we can please, either using your icons or while still muted, let's just give our first presenter, Cassandra, a huge hand and show of appreciation. I absolutely love your speech. Thank you so much for it, Cassandra. Going to direct the floor now to just a few of our speech crafters to see if they have questions. And I do ask that they keep their questions brief to give time for responses. Let's start with Letitia. Letitia, any questions that you have for Cassandra?
Thank you, Madam Speechcraft Coordinator. Cassandra, thank you for gracing our stage with your great presentation today. One of my questions is when you are using interest, when we're in the Toastmaster realm, how do we keep it within 5 to 7 minutes? It's very difficult.
Oh, I love that. That means you have such a grand topic that you could break that down into multiple speeches. That's what I would do, Letitia. If you have a great idea that makes it's a great topic and it lends itself to being either a longer speech, look in your path to see where there are longer speeches, like the speaking professionally is usually a longer one. Otherwise, look at breaking that speech down into multiple parts. And I've personally, and I've also witnessed individuals delivering speeches as a part one, a part two, and a part three.
Good idea. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Great question. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. Let me turn to Gail. Gail, any questions from you for our presenter, Cassandra?
Yes, I will. Thank you for asking that question. Actually, The question that Letitia asked, that was a question I had. How do you break it if you have a lot to talk about? How do you break it into sections? And you covered that very well. Uh, Multiple speeches or part one, part two, and part three. So I thank you for that.
You're quite welcome. And I say great minds are thinking
Mhm.
alike. Thanks, Gail.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Gail. I will ask one last speech crafter at this time for the sake of time, and that is Dr. Keisha. Any questions that you have for Cassandra?
I just want to say thank you for an awesome speech, very informative. This is a little off the topic, but I just was curious as how many speeches do you need to become an accredited speaker?
25, 15 of those need to be paid. And they need to be non Toastmaster, all 25.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Keisha, and thank you again, incredible and amazing Cassandra. Before we move on to our next presenter, I'm going to share my screen for her, and you will see her presentation information on my screen. As a result, you will not see also the timing information on my screen as well. I'm going to take away some of the floating boxes that you may see across the screen, and they should disappear here any second. While I have the pleasure of introducing our next presenter, Cecilia Palmer, DTM. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, it's my honor to introduce today's speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Cecilia Palmer. Cecilia is a seasoned communicator and leader who has earned the highest educational award in Toastmasters, DTM, through years of dedication, growth, and service. Today, Cecilia will be giving a speech titled Prepare to Present. This project focuses on how to write a speech that effectively conveys a message and explores practical methods speakers can use to prepare for their presentation. Whether you're a new Toastmaster or a veteran speaker, Cecilia's insights are sure to inspire and equip you for your next speaking opportunity. Please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster Cecilia Palmer.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Coordinator, and to our Speechcraft members tonight. Thank you for joining us. You can go ahead and switch to our next second slide. Imagine this. You're standing in front of an audience. Your palms are sweaty, your mind is racing, and all you can think is, I hope I don't forget everything I prepared. We've all been there. Whether you speaking to a small group or a packed auditorium, one truth remains the same. Success starts with preparation. Tonight, I'll share with you a simple roadmap to transform that nervous energy into a confident, compelling presentation. The path to success has three key steps: plan it, practice it, and present it. Next slide, please. Let's start with the first step: plan it. Planning your speech is like making a sandwich. It comes in three steps. If you ever been to Subway, you notice that it has a certain order. Or if you ever notice experienced speakers, they seem to have a piece about them. And that order is what creates that peace. So, peace is not the absence of noise, but the presence of order. So, the first step in planning a speech is you want to plan it. Number one, what is your purpose? Are you informing, inspiring, or persuading? Every speech should have a clear goal. Number two, who is the audience? Knowing your audience helps you tailor your language, your tone, and content. A room of professionals expect something different than a group of high school students. And number three, what is my core message? If your audience remembers one thing, what should it be? Once you have these three answers, create an outline. A strong speech follows this structure. First, you want to have your opening. The opening should capture attention using a story, a question, or a quote. The body of the speech. Organize your ideas into 2 to 3 main points. Support each point with examples, stories, or even statistics. And then your conclusion. End with impact. Reinforce your message and give your audience something to think about. Think of your speech like a journey. You're the guide, and the audience needs a map. Part two, please. The second part, practice it. Mark Twain once said, it usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. Why? Because great speakers rehearse, and they rehearse a lot. Here are some tips to make your practice count. Read it aloud. Hearing yourself helps you refine your wording and improve the flow. Time it. Stay within your speech's time limit. Toastmasters will hold you to it. Trust me, I've known. I've gone over it several times before. Use your body. Practice gestures, eye contact, and movement. And record yourself. It may feel awkward, but watching yourself helps identify areas for improvement. And something I've learned is to practice in parts. Rehearse sections individually, break it down into smaller parts, and then put it all together. Remember, don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. Part three. Finally, it's time to present it. When the moment comes, step into the stage with intention. Here are a few tips to deliver with confidence. Pause before you begin. Gives you practice and settles your nerves. Engage your audience. Use your voice, vary your pitch, pace, and tone. Use your face, smile, and show emotion. Be authentic. Don't try to be someone else. Be the best version of yourself. And if something goes wrong, like forgetting a line or skipping a slide, keep going. The audience is rooting for you. Most of the time, they won't even notice. Presentation is not about perfection, it's about connection. Next slide, please. So, in conclusion, let me leave you with this. A powerful speech doesn't happen by accident, it happens by intention. And when you plan with purpose, practice with passion, and present with presence, you won't just deliver a speech, you'll deliver an experience. So the next time you call to speak, don't panic. Just remember, plan it, practice it, present it, and you'll be ready, not just to speak, but to inspire. And back to our coordinator. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. If we can please show some love to Cecilia, either using some type of icons across the screen or a huge, huge applause. And I don't know about the rest of the audience, but anytime there is food in a presentation deck, there's something about it, I think, that also grabs our attention right away. Thank you, Cecilia, for that
Thank you.
amazing and very educational, informational speech. I'm now going to turn to our speech crafters. Something that I was looking to do here, coordinating Speechcraft, is that the speech crafters would have an opportunity to ask questions. Often we don't do that when we are in our Toastmasters meeting. Let's have Elizabeth chime in and see if Elizabeth has any questions for you, Cecilia. Elizabeth, do
I
you?
do. Cecilia, that was wonderful and it
Thank you.
was practical. And I thank you. So I'm going to ask you if you could share with us a personal experience of how you overcame nervousness.
Okay, how I overcame nervousness. I once had to make well, I guess I would say a speech, but do a sermon for church. And so it was my first sermon. So I was very nervous and didn't know what to do. And so my pastor kind of guided me in these very steps that we discussed tonight, how to organize and structure it. And just having that order, even though it doesn't take away all the nerves, but it does help create a calmness because you feel like you're prepared, you're ready to make your presentation, and then you feel kind of at ease. So that order and that preparation kind of helped take away some of the nervousness, and then it went well.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Right, great question. Thank you, Elizabeth. Let me turn to Letitia. Any questions from you?
Thank you, Cecilia, for that great instruction.
Thank you.
Proper planning prevents poor performance. I love it. I had a question. What do you do when you forget your lines? Like, what do you when you go mind blank? Because sometimes I guess that happens because someone gets nervous. Maybe they are prepared and they just forget everything that they were about to say.
Yes, very good question. Thank you for asking. So what happens if you forget your lines or your speech? I know some of the greatest speeches and creations in history were created when people forgot their speech. And so when you prepare, you're kind of familiar with what you're going to be talking about. So if you just kind of take a deep breath, you could pause for a moment, and then you know your subject, give your own ideas of what you're talking about, and then it would kind of flow for you to fill in the part where you may be forgotten for a moment. And then in you creating on the spot, that it may create a whole new speech or a whole new idea may reach someone that you didn't really plan, but it was impromptu. So take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and then you know the subject that you prepared for because you prepared. Give your ideas on that subject, and then things will begin to flow again for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Great question, Letitia. Outstanding answer, Cecilia, but you may not be off the hook yet. Let's turn to Dr. Keisha. Dr. Keisha, do you have any questions?
Not a question. I just want to say it's nice to hear that again because sometimes we forget to do those 3 practical steps. And
Yes.
okay, so I did lie. Will we get copies of any of these presentations? Because I know the 3 steps, but the in betweens is kind of, it'd be nice to kind of be able to just go through your next speech and say, yeah, did I do this? Did I do that? To kind of check it off.
Yes, so I can submit that to Terry, and then you can reach out to the speech crafters and definitely share that information, that presentation with you.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Keisha and Cecilia. I will make a note right now that you are fine with the deck being shared. Thank you so
Yes.
much. We also have one other of our speech crafters on. I don't see our fifth speech crafter, but I do see speech crafter Gail. Any questions from you, Gail?
At this time, I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you for all this wonderful information. One kind of new to Toastmasters, and I just want to say I'm absorbing everything like a sponge because this is great, great information for actually from both speakers. So thank you very much for the information that you are sharing, and I will put it to use. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Gail. And since we're a little ahead of time, I'm going to ask someone who is not a Toastmaster, at least as we say, not yet. Maureen, you visited the Hispano Americano Toastmasters Club. I'm curious if you can come off mute. If you have any questions for our presenter, Cecilia.
I'm just wowed and the great presentations. I'm totally blown. I'm so glad I'm here. And I am actually a member now. I joined last weekend. So
Congratulations.
great presentation, amazing information. Most people have asked what I had already found. Maybe I had some inkling. My biggest thing is organizing my presentation, and that question has already been answered. So thank you so much, ladies. Amazing, amazing presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen. And I want to be one of the first to say welcome to the Toastmasters family. And you're getting a
Thank
taste.
you.
This is like a taste. You're very welcome. I know you visited meetings before, and again, you're a member now, but this is like a little taste of it. Another thing that you see, and this is for everyone, not just Maureen who's here within Toastmasters, is something we call table topics. And with table topics, there's a question that's tossed out, and members are just sometimes chosen at random, something we call being voluntold, or they may
Yeah.
raise their hand and they may go ahead and present an answer that way. We're going to have our speech crafters be on the spot now. They've been asking questions of our two presenters. I'm now going to ask a question of them. I will ask the question, I will answer it first, and then I will pick them at random for their response. The question to our speech crafters is, how do you control nervousness? Now, the way that I typically do it, especially early on as a Toastmaster, is I purchase a Toastmasters pen from the Toastmasters website. And I put that pen somewhere on my clothes. And right before I need to speak, I'll tap that pen. And that's my reminder in my head. I have training. I will do fine. Let me get up there and speak. Let me turn to Elizabeth. How do you control nervousness, Elizabeth, when you have to speak?
Thank you for that wonderful question, Terry, our Speechcraft coordinator. You know, I am nervous every time I speak. However, as a Toastmaster, I have learned to allow my butterflies to fly in formation. I allow my nervousness to just get pushed out, and I make eye contact with my audience. I smile, I breathe, and I try not to think about being nervous. And then I just go forward with what I want to share, what I practiced. And as I put in the chat, we oftentimes have a totally different presentation that we deliver than what we practiced. And that's okay, as Cecilia said, that's okay because no one knows what you were going to originally say. So in conclusion, nothing wrong with being nervous. I take it in stride. I know that I'm going to be nervous and I just go with the flow. Back to you.
I love it, especially when you said you always feel nervous. I think that's really true. Dr. Keisha, how about you? What do you do? Can you give us some ideas of how to overcome nervousness, please, when we speak?
Well, Terry, thank you for that question. It's funny, the pen kind of remind me of something. I don't know if it was Serena or Venus has some kind of ritual. I just say a prayer. I say a silent prayer to myself before I speak because I believe in meditation and just centering. So that kind of just makes me calm down. And then I feel like I'm among friends. Luckily, with Toastmasters, you're among friends and feels like a family. It's different when you're out there at your job or on a career. But right now, luckily, I'm retired. So most of my speeches most of my speeches are with fellow Toastmasters or either promoting my book or something like that. So just a silent prayer to myself, give me strength, let me get through this, let it turn out the way I want it to turn out. And that really calms me down. And thank you for that question.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much for it. Let's turn to Gail. Gail, what do you do to help you control nervousness right before, maybe even during a speech?
Okay, thank you for that wonderful question. And what I have done the last speech is I pretend that the audience is someone like I'm comfortable with children or some stuffed animals. And with them, I know what I'm going to say. I know that they are going to be receptive and happy. So I will feel that I can't say anything wrong. I can't do anything wrong. So I speak from my heart, and that helps me, help me with my nervousness because I become very nervous. So, in other words, I'm an audience that is not intimidating to me in my mind, but I eventually move up to who the audience actually is. Thank you. That's it.
Oh my goodness, that response was brilliant. I think I will use that. And now I'll never look at you the same, Gail, when you're speaking. I'll be thinking she's probably looking at me like I'm a stuffed animal penguin or something. I'll never. Now that you said that, and I mean that jokingly.
Uh,
But I'm going to use that technique. I love it. I
but
actually love that. That is a great idea. Does it usually work for you, okay, Gail?
yes, these are friendly, lovable stuffed animals, the huggy kind, you want to hug. Yes,
I
and it does
love it.
work.
Thank you so much for that response. And let's turn to Letitia. And after Letitia speaks, before I close us out, I might pick on one or two of our seasoned Toastmasters. We will see. Letitia, though, what are you going to tell us that you do, please, to overcome nervousness?
You, Madam Speechcraft Coordinator. This is a great question, and I got a great answer for you. I have not overcome nervousness. Hello. So I absolutely hate it. I have anxiety every time I am ready to speak in front of a audience. So I don't know if I have any techniques besides taking a breath and it's a struggle. It is really a struggle. I have to get my mind ready to do this. It is a struggle. I have managed a group of people for 5 years, and it's a struggle every time I hold a team meeting, and it takes work. I'm not afraid where I can't do it, but it takes work. So I think I agree with both of our speech crafters, our presenters, that have being prepared helps. But even I have kind of, if you forget something and then I may start talking about something else. And then that does become a whole nother topic. So that is true. So that is how I handle it. I just speak slower so I can start thinking about what I forgot and just to try and calm myself down. So that's it, like I'm doing right now, speaking slower. Thank you. Great
Thank
question.
you, Letitia. And one thing I really appreciated about your response is your honesty. And a lot of us, and I'm included for sure, joined Toastmasters for the fear, because of the fear of speaking, and we didn't want to be ruled by it. And I've shared with a lot of our newer Toastmasters members, You will not grow watching other people speak. You would never know that I had a fear of speaking. And my testament, by way of testimony, is being in Toastmasters because it really will help you improve, not sometimes completely shake all of the fear, but to get through it and to realize that fear, as we Toastmasters say, is really just false evidence appearing real. We have about 14 more minutes, and I'm going to take advantage of that time and not let anyone get away a little bit early because we have not just a seasoned DTM. Let me tell you something. Our Toastmaster friend on here has accomplished the DTM level, again, the full completion of the program 3 times. And we can claim her as our own because she is a member of the New Faith Toastmasters Club that's sponsoring this program. I would love to hear from Martha Brock Leftridge, DTM3. How do you overcome nervousness? Can you offer up some wisdom to us, Martha?
Thank you so much, Madam Speechcraft Coordinator. That's one of the things that I dealt with early on in my career inside of Toastmasters. I would be so nervous that I would forget what I'm going to talk about. And I know that seems hard to believe because I'm not a wallflower any longer. I talk on every subject. The thing that helped me to overcome my fear is knowing my material, know what I'm going to say. And if I don't say that, have something in the hopper. I was told early on to always have a speech in our pocket. It's called a pocket speech. Once I mastered that, everything else was smooth sailing. There are times that I might get nervous, but it's only because I'm not prepared. I come to the stage with 3 DTMs. Those things are great. However, if I come with nervousness, that's still okay. Because there are times that you can get nervous depending on the crowd that you're speaking to. And I found myself when I'm with the prestigious crowds, I get a little jitters because I wonder, what are they holding on to? What did I say that was so important to them? They hung on my last word. So nervousness, it's okay to be nervous. But what is not okay to do is to stop. Keep going. Oftentimes when you forget something in your speech, people are not going to know it anyway. So that's what I do to overcome my nervousness. And it's a process that is still ongoing depending on the crowd. Back to you, Madam Speech Coordinator, Speechcraft Coordinator. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so, so much, Martha. We have all grown so much in this organization. I'm going to call on just one more person, one more person. And at this point, I called on Martha. She was not even a part of the program. She didn't know that she was coming up to speak. Again, it's like a testimony, seeing our Toastmasters being able to speak off the cuff. Let's see how well a member of my other club, the Hispano Americano Toastmasters member, Mike Royster. Come on up here. If you would please come off of mute and let us know, how do you handle nervousness? Do you have some tips to offer us, Mike? Let me put another call out. Mike, if not, I'll have to pick on my other member from Hispano Americano Toastmasters. Let me check one more time. Mike, are you on the line? Okay, I believe he just came off mute. No, he didn't. Okay, let me turn to Carol. Carol Henry from the Hispano Americano Toastmasters Club. Can you come off mute and tell us how you would address nervousness if you feel it or if you've ever felt it?
to my favorite Speechcraft coordinator. When I'm nervous, I usually take a deep breath just to get started because I have no idea what I'm going to say. My mind and mouth do not work in the same capacity. But once I take the deep breath, I can hear the little voice in my head go, "You can do this. You got this. It's easy. All you have to do is open your mouth and let it roar." Well, guess what? Some of my best speeches have been the ones that oh, yes, I, and I turn the speech about me or about the club or whatever. But it starts with a deep breath and that little voice in the back of my head. Thank you for the question. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol. And everyone, as I look to now close us out, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you to Cassandra as well as Cecilia for volunteering to be our presenters tonight to assist all of us in learning and in growing. Thank you to our 5 speech crafters for being here, for registering and saying, I want to learn, I want to grow. And in case anyone's wondering, well, who are those other people? Others were also invited, whether they are Toastmasters or non-Toastmasters, to be what's called listeners, to just listen and to learn and to partake in the Speechcraft program as well. This again is the first of 4 sessions. I will send out email reminders to those that are listed as presenters and Speechcrafters, as well as our listeners. 2, the speech crafters and the listeners, I will make sure that you receive copies of the presentation decks in PDF format from Cassandra as well as from Cecilia. If you have any questions before our next session, please don't hesitate to reach out. I thank you again, everyone, for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will look for each and every one of you during session number 2. Until then, bye-bye for now.